All right, now rising COVID cases are leading to staffing shortages all over the place, including at schools across the country, with some seeing 1 in 10 staff last week call out sick. That's forcing many districts to return to remote learning. NBC News correspondent Heidi Pryzbyla joins us now to talk through what that means. Heidi, good morning. So first, just give us a sense of how many districts are being impacted and how difficult that situation is currently making things at schools.
Yeah, Savannah, the raw number really doesn't capture it, but it's about 2,100 K through 12 schools across the country. What we're talking about here are some pretty large school districts like Atlanta, like Newark, Chicago. And it's really a version of what we saw with the airlines, Savannah. You can see there a peak at 3,229. That is really the highest number we've seen in several weeks, even before the holidays when Omicron was first starting to hit us. And they say it's not conducive to education because, they have 6 staff, they have access to testing issues, then many of these communities, they are seeing their highest positivity rates ever, Savannah.
And now we're hearing from the president of the National Education Association, I know, and who warned parents they should expect, quote, rolling shutdowns. What does that mean, and what else did she have to say?
That means in and out of virtual school, a version of what we saw last year, but just calls being made in the moment about whether kids can actually go to school. They were already facing critical staffing shortages, and these schools said they couldn't really afford any more. Well, that's exactly what they got. We've got about 35% nationwide unfilled positions already. Take a listen here to the head of the NEA about why this is happening.
The additional stresses, the uncertainty, the concern about safety and respect and pay and being overworked, absolutely has exacerbated the shortages throughout our profession. We had more and more teachers who were out being isolated due to COVID. And so we had a hard time covering those classes. And so many of our school districts had to go back to virtual.
And Savannah, educators say they hope at a minimum this just puts a lens on a system that has already been way overstrained.
And Heidi, quickly, what are teachers telling you about how they're handling this?
This is the first time they've seen anything like this, where school literally cannot open because they don't have enough staff. They say they predicted this chaos in places like Miami, for instance. They're at their highest rate ever, and they cannot tell those kids to use masks, or they might lose funding. Take a listen here to some of them.
There were administrators that were deployed, that were out covering classes. There were offices that were completely closed because they used all staff and available personnel to, watch kids and monitor kids. It's not conducive for education. We don't have enough testing kits to go out so that students can get tested.
The decline in students going into education has been significant to the point that we just don't have people out there who need to or are willing to sub. And we don't have enough teachers to even staff our building to begin with right now this year.
And Savannah, this was a theme across many of the school districts that I talked to, which was that they're using administrators in a pinch to jump in and serve as teachers because they just cannot find the substitutes needed to fill these positions, Savannah.
Wow. All right. Heidi Pryzbyla, thank you so much.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.